And I'm Michael. We're two Dominican University students here in River Forest, Illinois, and we're both business majors. So today we're going to talk to you about a little experiment that we did for our statistics class. Considering that we are two full-time students here, she's a senior, I'm a sophomore, and taking all these courses, paying all our tuition, and being here just made us think about, does going to school actually play a factor in our upcoming salary in our career fields? So, like I said, we did an experiment. We decided to test out whether job outlook, and excuse my not so clear writing, job outlook, education, experience,
job outlook,
on training, and does that equal a higher salary? Oops, you almost misspelled that, so sorry. Didn't have coffee this morning. So,
to begin with this, we got our data from a website called Occupational Outlook Handbook. There we decided from various occupations, we chose 30 to focus on, which all were related, and for business, there were occupations where we thought were something that we might do probably in the future.
careers that had to do with business. So
Pretty much.
Yeah. So like she said, we took a sample of 30, and then this was our variable. And for each job, so like take for example, accounting, marketing managers, real estate, and vendors. For each of these jobs, all 30 jobs, we looked at what their job outlook was, what their education requirement was, what experience was needed, and if the job offered any training on the field. Surprisingly, most of these jobs only needed a bachelor's degree. So with a bachelor's degree, you can pretty much move up in the field, but most of the jobs did not offer on-job training, and for those who did, it was more ongoing. So it doesn't matter how long you've been there, they just keep going. For experience, there was really none needed, and the job outlook was pretty good. For some, pretty bad. There was only a couple that were going down. But through that, we ran our regressions, we ran our statistical data, and we saw, again, that for the most part, you only need a bachelor's degree. You don't need a master's, you don't need a doctorate. Obviously, you need to go to high school. But for the most part, that's all you really needed. With no experience whatsoever, to my surprise, no training, so they just throw you in the field, doesn't matter. So it's pretty bad if you're a doctor, I'd say. And there was, job outlook was pretty okay. There was, none of the jobs were decreasing. But to come to our conclusion, we saw that it really doesn't matter if you have a bachelor's degree or not. Most people still make about, what was it? I want to say $60,000. At least for some jobs. Obviously, they vary if you're, CEO of a big company or something. But even then, we saw the minimal requirement for a CEO was a bachelor's degree. So, I guess to be fair, yeah, you don't really need to go to school, but there was still some. I think there was still some error, a lot of error in our experiment. Opportunities for us to improve and make this experiment a lot better.
some of the things that we could have done is included more variables. Maybe these were not as important to conclude, to make a conclusion on what determines salary. We also could have done primary research by going actually to every individual in the field that we were interested in, as the ones he had previously wrote on the board. We could have asked like what experience they needed to enter that field, or what kind of education they had, or if they had any training, and then I think that would have been more accurate than just looking at a website and looking just averagely like what each individual has done to go into that occupation. However, as college students and being here, I feel like there's still many opportunities that you could get out of college. You could get internships or network with professors and work your way up there. Even if you're passionate about just art or just pretty much anything, you could develop that knowledge and get in that profession that you want. So,
I mean, overall, through our experiment, we saw, of course, no positive correlation between having a higher bachelor's degree or higher education with a higher paying salary. But we all know that as time has gone on, before you only needed a high school education to get a job or enter a field, but now the basic requirement is a bachelor's degree. And I think to some extent our experiment, our conclusion is somewhat true. Does not matter what job field you go into, your job is not always guaranteed. A good paying salary is never guaranteed, but having that higher education definitely does help. Helps you network, of course, helps you learn, and overall it just helps you get experience and all these opportunities. If I didn't come to school, I wouldn't be here talking to you. But overall, I mean, we could have done a lot more. We could have, like you said, gone to actual people, asked them, what they needed, how they got their job. We could have done, had more variables. We could have had more observational, occupations. There's so much room for improvement. But we only used a data set that was provided to us through our website that was dated back to 2010. So things were very different 5 years ago. But yeah, overall, don't drop out. You need to stay in school. And that's it for me. That's it for her. See you guys.
You do it. Oh my god.